The next Star Wars MAFEX figure is here, and it looks really good, but is it really worth paying the $90 price tag when you could get yourself a perfectly good Black Series figure for like 25 bucks? Let's find out. Well, here we are with another MAFEX Star Wars figure, and we've got Bo-Katan. I love Bo-Katan. She's an awesome character, even though she technically wasn't the first. But seeing a character from the Clone Wars show up in real life in The Mandalorian was just so cool, and I've really only enjoyed the character more and more since then in Mando. So I'm very excited to finally have a MAFEX version of her. All of their Mando stuff has been really good. The Mando, most recent, is my favorite figure I think right now in this scale, pretty much. But the only other Bo-Katan figure that we have right now is the Black Series one. And the Black Series one is a much cheaper figure, you know, $25-ish. This one right here is a good, I don't know, $80, $90 figure. I'm always very curious to make videos like this to see, okay, well, we've got the Black Series, we've got the MAFEX, which is better? Is the MAFEX really worth the $100, or should you just go with the $25, $30 Black Series? So in this video, we're gonna open her up, check her out, and see if it's really worth the money, or just figure out if you're better off getting the Black Series. So the last MAFEX Star Wars figure I opened up, it wasn't a MAFEX or a MAFEX. It was more of a MAFEX. It was okay. It wasn't that great, but it was still pretty good. Judging by their track record with the Mando stuff, I'm sure she's gonna be great. I'm pretty excited to open her up. And man, she went from Clone Wars to live action to her own board game. Man, Bo-Katan is just all over the place. Sorry, Grogu. So this figure was actually sent over to me by the wonderful people at Hobby Genki, which is a pretty well-known, you've probably already heard of them, Japanese import website for action figures, stuff like that. They've got like everything over there. It is a really good site. So if you do need this figure, if you need any type of MAFEX, any type of MAFEX, any type of MAFEX, you can pick it up there. Or of course, really any of your import figures, they're all over there. Pre-order, in stock, everything. So definitely make sure to head to the link in the description. I'll have her as well as just the site in general and get some good stuff. It's a great site, very great site. So, and we've got some other figures coming out soon on this Star Wars MAFEX line, like Ahsoka, stuff like that. Definitely let me know if you're enjoying these type of comparison videos, and I would love to do more of them, like Ahsoka. I would absolutely love to do that. Well, a lot of people think of Mandalorian Season 3 as being far inferior than Season 1 or Season 2, that kind of thing. I agree, it's not quite as good as definitely Season 2, man. But I think it was really good. I liked it a lot, and I gave it another rewatch recently, and man, it's just even better watching it, you know, one after another, binging it. It's just got so much awesome, incredible Mando action constantly, and now I just can't wait for that Mando movie to come out. Come on. Okay, well, here she is, and you know, right off the bat, you can already tell it looks more like Bo-Katan than the Black Series does, as opposed to the Black Series kind of just looks like, okay, here's female action figure, insert Bo-Katan armor over that. You know what I mean? Like, this actually looks more like the character itself. It looks more like her, aside from the incredible face sculpt. It definitely looks more like Katie Sackhoff, and I think that's really cool. It's definitely a more realistic take on the character. I definitely prefer like the way her haircut is in Season 3. I understand this is more of a Season 2 figure, that's why it doesn't come with a Darksaber, I believe. That's not a dig on the fig, I just like her other haircut more. Man, all the detail and minor like weathering on her armor and stuff is really cool. It's really good. It's so subtle, but like it's really, really nice. Like just what it looks like on the helmet. The helmet is beautiful. All the white and the blue and everything looks so stinking good. Like really good. There actually is a very slight little blemish on the shoulder pad there. I don't think that's part of the weathering. I think that's just, I don't know, like a factory defect or something. Can you see that on there? It's pretty slight, but it's noticeable and you can feel it on there too when you touch it. I'm just gonna pretend that that's weathering, MAFEX. I'm just gonna pretend that that was intentional weathering. And the helmet is actually not something you go and put on her head, kind of like the Black Series. It is its own thing. You pop the head off, put the helmet on, which I think is always the best way. Maybe not the most cost efficient way for the company, but it's definitely what looks the best. Then you don't have to compromise anything with the helmet or with the head sculpt. They just are both their individual things, and they can both look as good as they're supposed to be, you know? As incredible as her head sculpt is, she's a Star Wars character, she's a Mando. I'm always gonna prefer to put her bucket on her head. Come on, it's just like, it's Star Wars. Okay, that was nice and easy. Wow, perfect. Nice. That looks great. That looks really good. She's got such a smaller and cuter jetpack as opposed to Mando's. You know, it's probably much more practical. I would prefer to have a jetpack like hers than that big old thing. This is probably way more comfortable. Let's go ahead and pop that on there real quick. All right, very nice, Bo. This is a good looking figure. This is a really great figure. And as far as articulation goes, you're getting, you know, MAFEX quality. The joints feel good. There's plenty of them. They're in good places. It just overall is pretty dang good, as you could probably expect. Although there are a couple things that I was actually a little bit surprised about with the articulation here. Such as the elbow articulation is fine. It's just you don't have quite as good of an angle. You kind of have just about a 90-degree angle. You can't get much further than that, which was actually a little surprising. With Mando over here, you actually were able to get a little bit more of an angle on that elbow. Not a whole lot more, but a little bit more. With the shoulders, they're pretty good, but you are stopped at about here to get them high enough at first. But if you do a little bit of wiggling, you can actually get, well, you might get that, but you can just pop it right out, or in. Oh, that was a nice pop. But if you do a little wiggling, you can get a full-on T-pose. So that's kind of cool. Other than that though, I think you can get some pretty great posing with this. She's looking great. Articulation is good. I don't think you'll have really any problems with her. So as we have already covered, she comes with a helmet and a Katie Sackhoff head. And she comes with 2 blasters, 2 pistols. That's great. And of course the jetpack as well. Awesome. She also comes with, unfortunately, not the Darksaber. This is just the Darksaber from the MAFEX one, or maybe this is the Figuarts, I don't remember. Comes with a grappling hook as well, which can be attached to her wrist, so that's cool. As well as a little wrist knife that can be attached also. And of course, some jetpack flame effects, which are really cool. Can stick those right in the back. And she comes with a stand too, so of course you can have her doing some jetpack posing with that as well, and that's obviously cool as heck. All right, well, which one should you get? Should you get the $25, $30 Bo-Katan Black Series, or should you get the $80, $90 MAFEX Bo-Katan? Obviously the MAFEX one is a better figure, that's why it's triple the amount of money or more. Obviously, getting a $20 figure is much easier and affordable, and that's always gonna be a huge win. But if you'd rather buy a few less figures to get one really good one, I always think that's a win, in my book at least. But let's look at the differences here. The color differences are actually kind of different. The blues and everything are much more stark and strong on the MAFEX, and I love that. I actually really love that, and that's more of a choice, I would say, than a cost saver. With the way the proportions are on the MAFEX, it looks more of a real human. The Black Series proportions look more like cartoonish, and I like the Black Series a lot, but because of the way they have the big helmet that fits over the head, it does give a little bit more chibi style proportions, and it looks a little bit less realistic. Still looks great though. So the detail on the paint and stuff on the MAFEX is really so great. There's a little bit of weathering and detail on the Black Series, which looks really good, but compared to the MAFEX, it's night and day. I mean, come on, it really is. You're doing the, you know, put the helmet on top of a head kind of thing. You, I think, have some different types of sacrifices you have to make, like the way the hair is. The hair really doesn't look bad, but it seems like it's shaped like she's got helmet hair, so it fits on there perfectly. You know what I mean? As opposed to the MAFEX one, it doesn't really look like that. It looks like her normal hair. You know what I mean? And with the face in general, I mean, the Black Series one really is good, but the MAFEX one is just so good. It looks just like Katie Sackhoff. Like, it's really good. When you look at, okay, this is $20, okay, this is $100, you can tell why in all the different places. You definitely can. One thing that's always a downside, in my opinion, with the Black Series when you have the helmet on top of the head thing, is you always have the potential to, like, see some chin, you know, when you're pulling it up and doing some posing, you always have the potential to see some chin, and that's not a terrible thing, and it's really not that bad with this figure. It's much worse with other figures like Rex or something. It's a thing. So which one should you go with? Should you go with the Black Series or the MAFEX? If you've got an extra little bit of money and you need a figure, you want Bo-Katan, get the MAFEX. I think it's definitely, obviously, far superior of a figure, and it's, I think, worth that price jump. I can see the price jump in the quality and the stuff, all of that. It's pretty clear, I think, in pretty much all of the different ways it could be. The accessories, the articulation, the paint, proportions, everything. It just looks better. I think it's worth it. The Black Series, though, however, is a great figure. If you just want a Bo-Katan and you only really feel like spending 20, 30 bucks, then go for the Black Series. Just, I mean, it's great. There's no reason for you to turn this one down, besides just having a little bit of a step up, you know? And in my opinion, this is one of the better Black Series in general. So what are we thinking? Are we thinking W-Katan or are we thinking L-Katan? W or L? It's obvious a W for me. Let me know in the comments, W in there and L in there, or whatever you're thinking. Okay, be honest with me. When I get to the toy photography part of the video, do you usually skip and head out, or do you actually stay and watch for that part? In my opinion, toy photography is the best thing ever, and that's the whole reason why I even own toys and buy them at all in the first place. Actually, most people don't even get like halfway through the video in general, but for all of you that do stick around to the end and watch the toy photography part, thank you so much. But speaking of that, I've got a toy photo idea with Bo-Katan right here. It's gonna be pretty action-packed. She's gonna be ruthlessly destroying some noobs. So let's go ahead and do that. It is a shooting and reviewing video after all. So here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna do some explosive toy photography tonight. So we've got Bo-Katan over here. She's taken out two already downed troopers on the ground, walking all nice and cool. Oh man, it's gonna be badass. And so I'm gonna use fireworks, which is gonna be great. And I'm shooting slightly at night. It's not too dark, but it's dark enough to the point where the fireworks are gonna show up and look really good. And so I've got a couple of lume cubes over here on the sides to get some rim lighting. I'm also gonna hold this other light on the top like this, so I get basically some rim lighting all around her, sides, top, everything. So my goal is to take 4 photos. One normal one as is with the light over here on top, and then 2 of them with sparklers. One of them on this gun and one of them on that gun. So it looks like she's really shooting them on the ground. That's gonna be cool. And then the final one is gonna be this with this crackling ball firework right here. And that's just gonna be lit in the background just like that. These figures are gonna be totally safe because it's gonna be very quick, very fast, and I've got water all around too. So don't you worry, nothing's gonna get damaged. And I'm gonna combine all of them in Photoshop like I always do. And if you're interested in any tutorials on how to do that, how to get these fireworks, anything like that, I've got them all linked in the description. I've got all these videos on how to do it. Here are my settings right now. My shutter speed's at 640, which is slightly fast, not too fast, but enough to capture the moving fireworks. I've got my aperture at f1.8, which is gonna be great, have a great blurry background. It's black now, but it's gonna be some nice bokeh in the background later on. The low f.8 also helps with shooting at night, so I can crank my shutter speed up, and this brightens the photo a little bit, having such a low f-stop. And my ISO is at 400 as always. The more I crank that up when I'm shooting at night, I get visual noise, so it's good at 400 right now as is. So I'm gonna use my handy remote, not touch my camera, take a bunch of shots, and I'll have my editing time lapse as always, and hopefully this comes out looking really cool. So, what do you think? Is it worth spending the money to get the MAFEX figure, which is definitely a better figure, or are you better off just getting the Black Series, spending 25 bucks, and still getting a pretty good figure? Either way, I appreciate you watching the video, and I appreciate you letting me know what you think as well. This photo, as always, will be posted on Instagram at Sirdork, TikTok at Sirdork730, and Twitter at Sirdork730. Make sure to head over to Hobby Genki as well. Get yourself something nice, pre-order yourself something really good. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel as well. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.